everybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Welcome back to Cheech ASMR. Hello, everybody. How are we? I want to preface first and foremost that my hair is wet, so forgive me for that. This one was about a loving father of two who was murdered. For investigators, the first challenge isn't finding the killer, it was finding his body. It begins with a 911 call placed to a Kenosha dispatcher. 15th Street. I was doing a wellness check on a good friend of mine that I was dating, and found it weird because I haven't talked to him for like 24 hours, and I just went to his house. I kept knocking on the windows, knocking on the doors, and the screen door is like wide open. That caller is Sadie Beecham, the concerned girlfriend of 40-year-old Rosalio Gutierrez. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I'm kind of freaking out, she said. May 19th, 2020, in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Sadie had gone to Rosalio's apartment after not hearing from him for over a day, but what she found sent her into a panic. Still on the 911 call, she says, "I'm afraid I just saw blood on the floor and that's not normal. Something's not right." She tells the operator that both of Rosalio's vehicles are parked outside, but there's no sign of him inside. His phone had been going straight to voicemail since 11 o'clock the night prior. Kenosha detectives Vincenzi Correa and Lauren Anches, I may be saying those names wrong, so sorry for that, are dispatched to the apartment. Immediately, they notice blood in the hallway and on the door. Inside, there's more blood on the walls, the ceiling, almost everywhere. The scene is gruesome. Lab analysis would later confirm it's Rosalio's blood. Furniture had been moved. On the floor, a large blood stain indicating someone may have been bleeding there for an extended period of time. There were no signs of forced entry. However, the patio door was found ajar, open, but with the screen still closed. In the living room, police noticed clear outlines on the floor where a rug once sat. Sadie later confirmed that there had been a small area rug in that exact spot. Dr. Mary Jumblick, a forensic pathologist, was brought in to consult. She began to wonder, why was that rug missing? She offered a chilling possibility that the rug may have been used to wrap or carry a body. Often, carpets are used to wrap up bodies and or carry bodies for disposing or hiding them, she said. One working theory from detectives was Rosalio may have answered the door and was immediately struck by blunt force trauma so quickly that he had no time to react. The impact forced him back into the apartment where the attack continued. Detective Lawrence sits down with Sadie for an interview. He describes her as frantic, shaking, crying, extremely emotional, and nearly panicked. When asked what happened, Sadie tells him she doesn't know where Rosalio is and she can't get a hold of him. During the interview, she continues crying, repeating, "Something weird is happening, something's bad, something doesn't feel right." Before her relationship with Rosalio, Sadie had been in a long-term relationship with Zachariah Anderson, the father of her 3 children. Their relationship was on again, off again for years. By 2019, Sadie says she's had enough. She ended it for good. While she still tried to maintain a civil co-parenting relationship, she ultimately had to cut ties. But investigators would soon learn Zachariah might not have been ready to let go. In a recorded phone call between Sadie Beecham and her ex, it's clear the relationship wasn't just strained, it was volatile. Zachariah says, I've confirmed that you've taken an interest in other guys. Sadie goes, but I told you I was already done. He cuts her off, and the guy that stole the mother of my child. She goes, he didn't steal anybody. He didn't steal anything, and I wasn't yours to effing steal. According to police, Sadie later provided investigators with detailed accounts of disturbing behavior by Zachariah toward the end of their relationship. In an interview, she said, he came over to the house and there was an argument. He began throwing things out of my house. I had to call the cops to have them come and ask him to leave. So that was kind of a violent episode. That was not the first time. I tried to file a restraining order. I was afraid. I said, but I just want you to know, like, I'm done, with the relationship. It was around that time that Sadie began dating Rosalio Gutierrez, a devoted father of two who was described as kind, family-oriented, and passionate about life. He loved dancing, coaching his kids' sports team, and cheering on the Chicago Cubs. But their growing relationship seemed to provoke Zachariah. Investigators began to build a disturbing picture. Zachariah had become obsessed and began stalking both Sadie and Rosalio. In another recorded phone call, Sadie confronts him directly. She's like, it's very effing evident that you are effing stalking me. Zachariah's like, I'm not stalking you. She's like, you came here in the middle of the effing night. You left our kids to effing come here in the middle of the night. I saw your car. Detectives canvassed Rosalio's apartment complex, speaking to other tenants, hoping someone had seen or heard something. They also searched the surrounding neighborhood for any surveillance footage, since unfortunately the apartment complex itself had no security cameras. They checked local and neighboring county hospitals for any sign of Rosalio, but nothing. Then they learned the apartment complex dumpsters had recently been emptied. Police immediately sent officers to the local landfill to meet with site personnel, but again, nothing. Detectives spoke to one of Rosalio's close friends. He told them he was deeply worried because Rosalio had missed work and wasn't responding to messages. He didn't know anyone who would want to harm him, but he did recall something Rosalio had shared. Rosalio told him that the ex-boyfriend of the woman he was seeing, Zachariah Anderson, had threatened him. That marked the second time Zachariah's name had come up in the investigation. During one of Sadie's interviews, she told detectives there was someone else they needed to talk to, her teenage daughter, Olivia. In a recorded exchange, Olivia enters the room and tells her mom, there's something I know that you guys don't know. I'm not trying to get dad all the way in trouble though. Sadie's like, I think you can just be as honest as you can. What Olivia would go on to say shocked detectives. Zachariah had taken 12-year-old Olivia with him to spy on Sadie and Rosalio. The investigation took a sharp turn when Olivia, Sadie Beachman's 12-year-old daughter, revealed something shocking, not just to detectives, but to her own mother. Olivia said, Dad had brought me that night and left the boys at the house alone. Sadie's reaction was immediate, stunned and horrified. Are you serious? Holy shiz, are you serious? You can't tell me stuff like that. Oh my gosh. It was clear Olivia had dealt with far more than any child should. She described how Zachariah instructed her to cover her mouth with a blouse so those inside the home wouldn't see her breathing. She even said he placed his cell phone into the air conditioning vent to secretly listen in. Later, Olivia told her mom something else, something Sadie felt detectives needed to know. Sadie tells them, she's like, well, you should probably tell your friend to do something because Dad took his registration out of his truck. I'm like, he still has it? She's like, yeah, and he's not planning on giving it back. I'm like, well, what's he gonna do with it? And she's like, I don't know. He said he was going to maybe have him followed for fun or something like that. This wasn't just paranormal anymore. Sadie was terrified, not only for herself, but for her children. She told detectives she believed Zachariah Zachariah with stalking. He urged her to follow through. Sadie didn't hesitate. She definitely wanted that as well. Now it's May 19th, 2020. That evening, police arrested Zachariah Anderson on stalking charges. He was transported back to Kenosha, where detectives conducted a formal interview. Remember, this is the same day Sadie reported Rosalio Gutierrez missing. Same day. Detectives asked Zachariah to explain the situation between him and Sadie. His response: "She's had a list of accusations about me stalking her and otherwise, and I have gone to check some information on her. Look, there were a couple of occasions where I went to verify it, but making it this thing like I'm stalking her, or I'm tracking her, or I'm effing hacked her phone, or whatever, take a effing hike. I didn't. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but it's bullshit." When confronted with a specific incident, detectives asked, "You accidentally dropped your cell phone in her car underneath the car seat." Zachariah's explanation: "But I didn't effing track her on the cell phone. I dropped the cell phone. I went to pull my kids, pull my boys out of their car seats or whatever, and give them a hug. And when I leaned forward, I dropped the phone in her car." According to investigators, every question came with an excuse, and when they confronted him with details shared by either Sadie or Olivia, his story would shift again and again. "I'm not hacking her cell phone. I'm not hacking her email. I'm not hacking her shit. I'm not stalking her," Zachariah insisted. "There's some things that I checked. I would love to catch her, getting high with her boyfriend, just so I could say to the court, I deserve custody of my kids because this is how she spends 3 days a week." To detectives, his behavior was deeply troubling. He framed his actions as part of a custody battle, claiming it was all about collecting evidence. But his actions, they said, went far beyond that. His behavior was bizarre, obsessive, and escalating. As detectives continued to press Zachariah Anderson about what he knew, the lies and deflections kept coming. When asked about the registration card Rosalio was reportedly missing, Zachariah snapped, "I don't know what the F he did with his registration, or what the stories are. Oh, Zach must have done it. Zach does everything. I have no effing idea, man." Detectives then asked about a photo of Rosalio's car title that was allegedly found in Zachariah's possession. Again, he denied it. He said he'd been confronted about this numerous times and claimed it's a lie, insisting they were just trying to make him look bad. But the mounting evidence, especially from Olivia, was telling a very different story. She confirmed to detectives that on April 24th, her dad had brought her to Sadie's house, telling her to watch what her mom was doing. When asked directly if he had looked through the windows of the home that day, Zachariah admitted, yeah, the windows were open. I could look through the windows and see, there were no blinds covering the back door. But when asked if he had taken pictures, videos, or planted a recording device, he denied everything. He also denied placing a cell phone anywhere at the scene. Then, Zachariah asked for a lawyer. That night, a search warrant was executed at his residence in Macon, Wisconsin. What investigators found raised serious red flags. Outside, officers noticed a large fire pit in the backyard, and it was still smoldering. That was highly unusual considering the area had received about 6 inches of rain over the previous 4 days. The fact that it was still burning suggested the fire had been extremely hot enough to resist days of soaking rain. Investigators later spoke to a friend of Zachariah's who confirmed that Zachariah had been maintaining the fire even during heavy downpours. He told police the fire pit was started on May 18th, just 1 day before Sadie found the blood-soaked scene in Rosalio's apartment. As night fell, investigators paused the outdoor search and focused on the interior of the home. Inside, they made another $37,000 in cash, a large quantity of marijuana, numerous electronic devices, and parked on the property a minivan registered to Zachariah Anderson. All of it, including the cash, the drugs, and the minivan, was seized for further analysis. The next day, May 20th, officers resumed their outdoor search. The fire pit was still smoldering. They found what appeared to be burned clothing and a partially melted bleach container, the label still legible. Inside the minivan, they immediately noticed a strong odor of bleach. There were visible bleach stains on the floor, and about 1/3 of the carpet in the rear cargo area had been torn out. On the passenger side dashboard, they found a Walmart receipt. Detectives traced it back to May 18th at 6:30 in the morning. Surveillance confirmed Zachariah made a cash purchase of 2 boxes of garbage bags, latex gloves, and 2 bottles of bleach. It was becoming increasingly clear something sinister had happened in or around that van. At this point, detectives wanted to know, where else could Zachariah have gone? Where else might he have disposed of evidence, or worse? They searched multiple areas tied to Zachariah's movements and phone records, including his family's tree farm, which became the site of a major operation. 3 cadaver dogs were brought in to assist. All 3 showed signs of alerting on a large burn pit. But after further examination, it was determined the remains were non-human, possibly animal, and not what they had hoped to find. Another location was in the Belgium area, where Zachariah had been working with a friend on a house near a park with wooded areas and a deep pond. That search also came up empty. Then came the breakthrough investigators had been waiting for. During forensic analysis of the minivan, a small speck of what appeared to be blood was found in the rear passenger side quarter panel. The Wisconsin State Crime Lab took over. After 8 days of processing, the results came back. It was Rosalio Gutierrez DNA. Detectives also went through Zachariah's laptop. What they found confirmed their suspicions, a disturbing level of obsession. There was an entire folder dedicated to Rosalio, filled with screenshots, photos, and personal details. About 25 photos of Rosalio were found, some with his kids, others alone or with friends. Documents tied to his LLC and construction business, links to Rosalio's social media and Facebook pages. All of it pointed to one thing: Zachariah Anderson had been watching Rosalio closely long before he went missing. As the investigation moved forward, detectives spoke with Rosalio's mother, who had access to his bank and other financial accounts. What they found was chilling. Since May 17th, there had been no activity, no transactions, no credit card usage, no messages to his children or his mother. Over the next 6 to 7 months, there was zero communication. It was as if Rosalio Gutierrez had simply vanished. At this point, the district attorney's office believed they had enough evidence to charge Zachariah Anderson. He was formally charged with first-degree intentional homicide, 2 counts of stalking, 1 for Sadie and 1 for Rosalio, and hiding a corpse. But due to COVID-related court delays, the trial would be pushed back nearly 3 years, giving both the prosecution and the defense ample time to prepare their strategies. The defense's argument: there was limited DNA, no body, and no direct evidence tying Zachariah to Rosalio's death. Their stance was simple: no body, no crime. February 28, 2023, the trial finally begins in Kenosha County Circuit Court. The prosecution's challenge: no eyewitnesses, no human remains, no murder weapon. It would be up to the jury to weigh the circumstantial evidence and piece together what happened. spy on my mom. She explained how Zachariah instructed her. We went to a window, and he looks at me and he says, before you do anything, go like this with your shirt to make sure that you don't get the breath marks on the window. She went on. I saw him sitting on the couch with my mother coming out of the bathroom. Breaking down in tears, Olivia told the court, I didn't realize how hard this would be for me. She continues, they were listening to music and laying there together. Afterward, they went back to Zachariah's house where he told her to get some sleep. But when Olivia was on the stand, Zachariah made a hand gesture as if telling her to keep quiet. He went and almost pinched his lips together to tell her to, shush, essentially. At the same time, the defense raised concerns about Sadie, who was watching from the courtroom. They suggested Sadie might be communicating with her daughter while she was testifying. When Sadie was questioned about this, she admitted, there was a moment where she got a little sassy up here, and my initial mom response was to go, ch-ch-ch. So if I did that, that would have been the only thing that I can recall I did. The judge responded that he had been observing both parties and concluded nothing in his opinion would be an effort to influence the child or make this more difficult. When Sadie herself took the stand, she faced aggressive cross-examination by the defense. They focused on text messages exchanged between her and Rosalio. Did you remember receiving a message from Mr. Gutierrez on March 3rd, 2020? The defense asked. Sadie responded that she had explained to Rosalio that she was afraid Zachariah was tracking her and trying to take the kids. The defense continued, then Mr. Gutierrez responded to you that same day at 7:30 a.m. Babe, I can stake out by your house tonight like a detective, or option B is, well, I do know people. Sadie had replied to that text that day, oh, I definitely thought about a plan B. The defense claimed these were threatening messages from Rosalio against Zachariah, even bringing up another exchange. Sadie had texted, well, I guess if he has your info, you should have his. Rosalio replied, he can have all my info. I want him to know exactly who beat his butt up. There needs to be consequences for his actions. But despite all of this, there was no evidence Rosalio had ever confronted or threatened Zachariah in person. In fact, all the evidence pointed to the crime taking place at Rosalio's apartment, not Zachariah's. To prove intent, the prosecution called Marquand Washington, Zachariah's cellmate, to the stand. Marquand testified that Zachariah had confessed to him what happened. He said he had seen this person, and he said he stabbed him and he blacked out. And he said he eventually wrapped the body up in garbage bags and got rid of the trash. He threw the trash out, and I asked him, what did he mean by that? Like a dumpster or trash? And he said, once it's gone, it's gone. He said Zachariah's jail nickname was Houdini because he made a body disappear. After a trial that lasted 4 weeks, the jury returned its verdict, guilty on all 4 counts. Zachariah Anderson was sentenced to life in prison. Justice was served even without a body, a weapon, or a traditional crime scene. Through relentless investigation, digital forensics, and powerful testimony, the truth came to light. What do you all think of this case? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to join the Cheechling family. I would love to have you a part of my Cheechling family. Until next time, this is Cheech.